we talk about waiting for that. So waiting to be motivated or waiting to have the willpower, but it's something that follows the accomplishment of the task.
Yeah.
So it happens after we achieve something, but we have this idea that it's what starts something.
Yeah.
Which is just false.
100%.
Unfortunately, it sucks. Everyone gives us the highlight reel, but even high-level athletes will walk into the gym and they'll be like, I don't want to train today.
Yeah.
The difference is they make the choice to train.
Yeah.
As where the other person goes, no, I don't want to train, then they don't train.
Welcome back to the Unbound podcast. Today's video, we talk all about goal setting. The 3 main things you need to focus on to making sure that your New Year's resolution goals stay achievable. I hope you enjoy the podcast. Just, you have a question?
No, I'm not taking anything.
That is everyone's must-need question. Michael, what supplement stack do you use? Are you stacked?
Salad.
Salad.
How do you, or like, what should people be doing, like making goals for the new year? Like sustainable goals.
Okay.
This is a very simple question.
Should be the same goals you already have.
Yeah. You start by reflecting. So you need to work out, you need to identify whether you're willing to make the changes in the first place and whether that goal is achievable because you're willing to make those changes. So there's no point in saying, I want to go and put on 5 kilos of muscle mass, but you're not willing to tidy up your food. You're not willing to give up the drinking on the weekends. You're not willing to turn up to the gym. So the conversation has to be internal. You need to reflect on what you've done previously, what you've kind of done wrong or why you haven't achieved it before, and then write the new goal and just make sure that you're willing to be that person. So I suppose what aligns with it is, why do most people fall short? It's not the goal that matters so much. It's about the becoming the person who can have that.
Yeah.
And that's what people aren't willing to do.
Yeah.
They like the idea of it, but they're just not willing to make those changes. They're not willing to get up that hour earlier or go to bed that hour earlier or prep their food.
Yeah, 100%. And most of the time they not only that, like they'll write a goal down. And like you said, like, are you the type of person that will eat more than what they burn to put on weight?
Yeah.
Like, are you the type of person to do that? Or are you the type of person who, when they see like some sort of sweet food, feels like they're instantly going to get fat?
Yeah.
Then you're not going to be the type of person who's going to openly just eat more than they burn a day to put on weight. Like, then you have to become that type of person. And, you know, just by saying a goal or thinking about it isn't going to change your current habits or lifestyle.
We all get stuck there. We're very good at verbalizing things.
Yeah.
But then we don't put them down on paper and we don't write down the actions that need to follow that.
We don't keep ourselves accountable for them either, or at least get someone else to keep us accountable.
And that's where you reach out to a coach. That's why coaches have coaches.
Yeah.
The accountability, it's not that they don't know what to do. They know what to do. It's the accountability that everyone needs.
Yeah. Even, which is funny, Ryan Holiday, he writes a lot of books about stoicism and philosophy, and he has someone that he looks up to.
Yeah.
Robert Greene, he was his mentor when he was doing American Apparel, and he looks up to that guy who he technically now is more successful than Robert Greene. However, he still treats him as his mentor because he is someone who's given him guidance, non-biased guidance, through whatever goal, whatever like adversity he's had. And I guess that's the same thing for, you know, coaches having coaches, or even coaches having someone who, you know, keeps them accountable, because at the end of the day, like, we're all human, we all make mistakes, we're not all perfect. But what we can do is really focus on what we want to achieve, what's going to get us from point A to point B, and what we're doing wrong currently, like what bad habits we have that aren't letting us get to that point.
And that's, I mean, some of us, I suppose, just get stuck in denial. That's the conversation people don't have.
Yeah.
Is, what did you do wrong last time? And it's okay to try and do a goal again that you didn't achieve before.
Yeah, 100%.
Maybe you just didn't follow the steps correctly. Maybe you didn't have the accountability. Maybe you didn't lay out an action plan of how to do this.
Or maybe when it came down to it, you just weren't willing.
Yeah.
You weren't making that sacrifice. You're a yes person. You weren't saying no to people. You just like, but I should still hang out with my friends. But what if your friends are the bad influence that pulls you away from the goal that you want to achieve? I'm like, not saying just drop all your friends and mates straight away, but have a also look at the environment you're putting yourself in, because everyone kind of has that idea that like, okay, like, you know, my friends are there to help and support me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you are a representation of the 5 people you surround yourself with. So if 5 people around you are overweight, you will become the 6th. Unless you make a change, unless you be either the one who steps out of that comfort zone and starts making change and influences the others too, or you find a different environment.
And I think we also need to clarify, like, this is neither a good or bad thing. It's really just identifying whether something actually matters to you. And it's fine if it doesn't.
100%.
Like, if you go through the process and you lay out the goal and you realize, shit, this actually doesn't matter to me, then that's fine.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing. It's actually just part of the process.
And what's your thoughts on like willpower and motivation? They're two very, very intertwined, similar things. But what would you say, like, what is your belief behind them and how to use them correctly to help those goals go ahead?
I think we all have things that we find easier to be motivated for. We all kind of need to, I think, we talk about waiting for that. So waiting to be motivated or waiting to have the willpower, but it's something that follows the accomplishment of the task.
Yeah.
So it happens after we achieve something, but we have this idea that it's what starts something.
Yeah.
Which is just false.
100%.
Unfortunately, it sucks. Everyone gives us the highlight reel, but even high level athletes will walk into the gym and they'll be like, I don't want to train today.
Yeah.
The difference is they make the choice to train.
Yeah.
As where the other person goes, no, I don't want to train, then they don't train.
Yeah. And this was coming back to like that last video we spoke about where if you have an hour normally to train, work, life, whatever gets in your way, you now have 30 minutes. You're going to be the type of person who's going to get the workout done, or you're going to be the type of person who's going to go watch Netflix for 30 minutes.
Yeah. And it's the same with food. Like, everyone goes through the same battles. It's not like we're isolated and it's unique to us. Like, I still go, shit, don't eat that Oreo.
Yeah.
But the difference is now I don't eat the Oreo.
Yeah.
So previously, I would just eat the 2 bags.
Exactly. And like, I mean, I've always had this perception that I was just more resilient than other people, but I guess I just didn't give myself the opportunity.
You probably just had more of those internal conversations.
Yeah.
So if we were counting it, it's you've just been through that way more than someone else and come out making the right decision based on your goals or where you want to be.
100%.
And you're just more aware of it. But that only comes with exposure.
Yeah.
The more you put yourself in a situation where you're facing adversity or you're having to make these choices, you just learn those things.
Yeah. To circle back to the original question, which was, you know, how to set goals and stick to them. What would your 3 biggest, I guess, tips of advice be for that person who is looking at setting a goal and sticking to it? So the 3 best ways to stick to the goal that they have set for themselves. Let's say, for example, the most common one, which would be lose a couple of kilos after Christmas.
Just the first thing is to give it a number. So make sure it's measurable. It's not just a perception or an interpretation. Like, the scale is the perfect one that everyone sets themselves up for with failure because they want to lose 5 kilos. Well, what is that 5 kilos?
Yeah.
Like, everything has mass to it. Like, you're saying 5 kilos, but you don't actually know what that 5 kilo represents.
Yeah.
All you know is you want that number to be 81 on the scale. Now, that could still be bad for you if you're doing it for health. So I think try and make sure that you actually understand what you're asking yourself to do. If you don't understand it, that's where you reach out for help and you get a coach or you get someone to assist you.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah.
I think that's where we kind of all get stuck. We all want to do it ourselves, or we all want to try and like just give it a crack, which is fine. But if it hasn't worked before, then change something.
Yeah.
So you can try to do the same goal again, but don't try and do it the same way.
Yeah.
The other thing is give it a time frame. So make sure, okay, I'm going 6 weeks. And then you also probably need to check that with someone who's professional in the industry, who's been helping people with that, to make sure it's realistic.
Yeah.
There's no point in saying, in 6 weeks, I want to lose 30 kilos. You're just setting yourself up for failure.
100%. Yeah.
And then the last one for me personally is make it fun and find a way to make it fun. Like, I'm a big believer in fun is just a state of mind. If you look at basically everything that we see around the world, you see people playing soccer with like empty Coke cans. it's fun.
Yeah.
All right. Like it is, you can make anything fun.
As long
You
as
just need to
yeah.
learn how to.
So you've got make the goal measurable. So have some sort of metric in mind that you can measure your set goal. Have a time frame you can complete that goal in, and making it fun. So making it enjoyable to the fact that when you do the goal, you're not just grinding yourself. You're not making it so inconvenient in your life that you're just going to hate it. And you're also not making it something that you're going to dread. You're not going to be like, fuck, I've got to go to the gym and like train with people I don't like.
Yeah, exactly.
or like
It should be enjoyable.
I'm sick of doing circuits.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I want to do something fun. Like I like lifting weights, or I love running, or I love doing hikes and going outdoors. But, you know, instead I'm going to go to this place that I dread. Like, yeah, if it's not enjoyable, then it's not going to make it easy. If it's not easy, you're not going to stick to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so they'll be the big three biggest takeaways. Anything else on the topic? Any shards of gold, pieces of advice that you've had and made work with your own goals?
Not off the top of my mind. I always find doing it with other people is always more enjoyable. I'm a social person. I come from group sport backgrounds. It's just waking up to the reality that doing it by myself is just not something I ever want to do. And that goes for everything I do in life. I always want to do it with other people. If I'm successful, I want to be successful with other people, and I want to celebrate that with other people.
Yeah.
So knowing that makes it easy for me. I know exactly how to kind of set things up to be successful. It's just identifying that. And then, like we said, it's fine to be the other way as well. You might be that individual. You want to do it by yourself.
Yeah.
That's fine. It just changes things slightly.
So what would you say your goal right now is coming into the new year? What is one of the goals that you've set for yourself that you're trying to achieve, and what are you doing to get to it?
So for me personally, it was making training fun again. Like going through Down Under and competing with the boys was one of the best experiences I ever had. It was one of the hardest things I ever had to do. Like just mentally having to be that uncomfortable all the time was just not fun. But everything else around it was fun.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because for me, it's the experience that was what I took away.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you what the workouts were.
Well, I could.
It was the conversations to the venue. It was the warm-up area. That's what makes me want to go again.
Yeah.
It's just part of the journey.
Yeah, 100%.
What happened on the floor, obviously you want to be successful as a team because it's always more fun to be successful, to be competitive. But for me personally, I would like going through that process. I know I could never even bother trying to be an individual athlete.
Yeah.
I would not enjoy it.
No.
Yeah.
I've been there and it's not fun.
And it was just trying to get the fun back.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, okay, well, that was hard. That was good fun. I couldn't do that all year round. Like I would just burn out and crash. So bring the fun back into training, jump in on a few more classes, do some things you weren't normally doing leading into Down Under. And then that way I'm kind of ready to go again for the Open.
Yeah, cool. And just to put in perspective, one of my goals for the short-term future is to slay a Titan.
Are you going to call him out?
I'm going to call him out. So Matthias set a back squat, his back squat record, or at least the back squat that he can do currently right now of 215 kilos. And I have a 206 kilo back squat, by the way, at a much lighter body weight. So I just need to put that through. So surely we're cutting kilos here. But I plan to slay the Titan, Matthias. I want the #1 back squat record for the gym, even if that costs me fitness.
So there's a perfect example. It's measurable.
Yeah.
What time frame did you give it?
I've given it 6 weeks at the moment to reassess, to see how much progression I've made and what I need to work on. But 6 weeks to at least get gains in my own back squat, whether that's 1 kilo, 2 kilos, whatever. I'm not expecting to get
an increase in speed, feeling more comfortable under that previous weight.
More volume, maybe even bigger legs potentially, or even at least stronger legs.
Yeah.
But yes, then there's a time frame behind it, and to make it enjoyable, it's a bit of rivalry, a bit of competitiveness, but he doesn't know about it.
Now he does.
Yeah, now he does.
And Matthias is kind of known for the life hacks when he does things, the crop top for the speed boost. And do you have any gold like that? Maybe bust out some budgies?
Budgies. I guess one of the better things that I have that give me a boost is just my height. So I'm 10% shorter than him,
Yeah.
which makes it a little bit easier.
But he's a giant. He's like 6'4"
6'4".
on a bad day.
Anyway, that's going to cover New Year's goals, what to look for, and how to achieve
If you really struggle with it, we've got some stuff that we can send out to people where we've laid the process out for you. We have 2 versions of it. If you're someone who is like myself and you don't mind going down a deep rabbit hole and asking yourself some hard questions, there's about a 60-minute one. And that is quite hard. It's not for everyone, but at some point you probably want to go through that process.
Yeah.
And then we do have a condensed version of it, which you guys can go through. So we just lay out the questions you need to be asking yourself, and you basically get to fill it out. And the only thing that we ask is you just be honest with yourself.
And how can they find that?
Just reach out. So message us on Instagram, flick us email, and we'll send it to you. No charge.
Talking about reaching out, don't hesitate to ask us questions for the next Unbound podcast in the comments down below. Thanks for listening. See you next week.